This is the latest project from George Nolfi, who might be best known for The Adjustment Bureau. Remember that one with Matt Damon? It had some issues, but I quite liked it. Anyway, this time around he's recruited among others Anthony Mackie and Samuel L. Jackson. And the story here is based on real events and takes place mostly in the 60s. And Anthony Mackie plays an enterprising and very ambitious young man, in an era when black men had quite a few obstacles ahead of them if they wanted to become successful entrepreneurs. Mainly because they simply did not have access to the same kind of resources white people did. And this movie in particular focuses mostly on the financial aspect of that puzzle. And the fact that black people couldn't get loans and didn't necessarily have access to banking. Among other things, like the fact that a lot of wealthy people just didn't want to do business with black folk, making it extraordinarily difficult to actually get ahead, no matter how much work you were willing to put in. But as I said, this particular young man is very ambitious and determined, so he finds ways to get around those obstacles while still playing within the rules of the law. And you know what? At first, this movie did not impress me very much at all. It felt a bit stiff and clunky, a little formulaic even, kind of generic to be honest. And I was ready for it to be a disappointment. However, then it managed to surprise me. Because after a while, 30-40 minutes, things started to get very much more interesting. It started picking up the pace and it got way more entertaining and even kind of funny. So after a bit of a rough start, I began to genuinely enjoy the movie. Primarily because this turned out to be a bit of a heist movie in disguise. At least partially, there's a significant portion of this that plays exactly like a heist movie. And if you know me, you know I have a soft spot for those, and this was a good one too. It handled it very well, and not only that, the stakes were pretty high as well. And the character motivations for doing what they did were good too. So yeah, it eventually managed to get me invested and I started liking it a lot. And it's just one of these movies that turned out to be very solid. Not phenomenal, but solid. Although I will say there's quite a bit of a difference between the best parts and the worst parts. Because at times it's really good, but as I said, the beginning was a bit rough, but never was it terrible. And once it got over that rough patch, it never dipped anywhere as low again. It managed to keep the quality a lot higher after that, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. As did apparently Sam Jackson as well, because he seemed to actually have fun with this. He usually doesn't phone it in, whatever it is he does, but here he genuinely seemed to have a good time. And he plays Anthony Mackie's business partner and a bit of a wild character. At least in comparison to Mackie's very stiff and kind of boring businessman. Which was a great contrast, and it was honestly very helpful, because without it the movie might have felt a bit stale. A lot less energetic and fun, I would think. So yeah, the dynamic there was very good as well. Which I guess brings me to Nicholas Hoult, who did a good job as usual. And at times you could see glimpses of something beyond that in his performance too. There were a few scenes where he very much shined, so yeah, I liked him in this as well. And to be frank, beyond the shaky start there, I don't really have any problems with this. It's not amazing, it looks a little bit generic for instance, a little bit bland in my opinion. But other than that, it turned out to be very solid, and once again it captured my attention and held it all the way through. However, would I recommend it? Yeah, why not? It's a pretty good movie. So maybe give it a look, or don't. After all, I'm not your dad. But hey, what are your thoughts on this? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a thumbs up or sub to the channel, because that would be fantastic. And if you'd like, you can also support me on Patreon or PayPal through the links in the description. And as always, I appreciate you and thanks for watching.